Ambassador Minho rubbed his tired eyes and tried to focus on the speaker. The insectoid creature at the podium clicked and buzzed for another hour about trade route protocols. Minho had heard this exact same speech 846 times before. This was session 847. The Galactic Council Station Theta 9 floated in deep space, a massive ring of metal and glass where thousands of alien species gathered to talk, and talk, and talk some more. Minho had been Earth's chief diplomat here for 3 years. It felt like 30. He looked around the enormous chamber. Delegates from across the galaxy sat in their special seats, designed for their unique bodies. Some had tentacles, some had wings, some were just floating clouds of gas in containment fields. All of them loved to debate. And thus, the insectoid Counselor Vrath announced, we shall schedule the preliminary vote on Human Proposal 2749 for the year 2401. Minho's jaw dropped. That's 14 years from now. Vrath's compound eyes focused on him. Ambassador, you are out of order. We follow proper procedure here. Proper procedure? Minho stood up, his voice rising. We submitted that proposal 2 years ago. It's just asking for fair shipping rates. A blob-like creature oozed forward at another podium. Delegate Corrine spoke in a wet, bubbling voice. The human ambassador forgets that we must consider all angles. 14 years is quite fast by council standards. My species debated a similar proposal for 60 years. 60 years, Minho repeated flatly. He sat down and put his head in his hands. The session dragged on for 6 more hours. When it finally ended, Minho walked quickly to his private communication room. His assistant was waiting with an urgent message. Sir, Prime Minister Ji-won is calling from Earth. Priority 1. Minho activated the screen. The face of Earth's leader appeared and she looked furious. Minho, we just got the report. Another colony ship, the New Dawn. His stomach dropped. No, not another one. Pirates hit them near the Velcor system. 4,000 people, Minho, families, children, all dead. Ji-won's hands were shaking. We brought this to the council 6 months ago. What did they say? They formed a committee to study the issue, Minho said quietly. The committee will present findings in 2395, then there will be debates, then subcommittee reviews, then— 8 years, Ji-won interrupted. They want us to wait 8 years while our people die? They offered thoughts and sympathies, Minho added bitterly. Ji-won was silent for a long moment. How many proposals have we submitted to this council? 217. How many have been approved? 3. All minor, none of the important ones. And how long have humans been council members? 42 years. Ji-won leaned back in her chair. 42 years of begging. 42 years of following their rules. 42 years of watching our people suffer while they debate. She looked directly at Minho. I'm done. Are you? Minho thought about the families on the New Dawn. He thought about the 3 years he had wasted in this chamber. He thought about all the human colonies struggling because the council blocked every attempt to help them. Yes, he said. I'm done. Then end it. Minho walked to the main council broadcasting station. Any member could send messages through the galactic network from here. He stood in front of the camera and activated it. Red lights blinked on. Billions of beings across thousands of worlds would see this. He spoke clearly and calmly. I am Ambassador Minho of Earth. I speak for all humanity. As of this moment, humanity formally withdraws from all Galactic Council proceedings. We will no longer submit proposals. We will no longer attend sessions. We will no longer follow Council regulations. Humanity will handle its own affairs. This transmission is our final communication with this body. He reached forward and switched off the broadcast. 30 seconds. That was all it took. Within minutes, his communication panel exploded with incoming messages. Counselor Vrath sent 47 urgent calls. Delegate Corrine demanded an explanation. A four-armed bureaucrat named Chancellor Drexith sent a message saying this was highly irregular and procedurally concerning. Minho deleted them all without reading past the first line. He packed his belongings from his office. 3 years of work fit into one small bag. As he walked toward the human shuttle, other delegates tried to stop him. "Ambassador, surely we can discuss this. There must be some misunderstanding. You cannot simply leave." Minho kept walking. At the shuttle door, he turned back one last time. The massive council station stretched out behind him, all gleaming metal and important-looking architecture, a monument to bureaucracy, a temple to endless talking. "Watch us," he said, and boarded the shuttle. As the ship pulled away from the station, Minho looked out the window. He felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Relief. His communicator buzzed. It was Commander Yuna from the human fleet stationed nearby. "I saw your broadcast, Ambassador. Every human ship in the sector saw it." There was a pause. "We're cheering. What are your orders?" "Get our people home safe," Minho said, "and tell the fleet to get ready. We're done asking permission to defend ourselves." "Understood, sir. And Ambassador?" "Thank you." The shuttle jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the council station behind. Minho closed his eyes. He had just made a decision that would change the galaxy. Back on the council station, alarms were ringing. Emergency sessions were being called. Delegates were panicking. In 10,000 years of council history, no species had ever simply walked away. They had no idea what to do, and Minho smiled. Chancellor Drexith had 4 arms, and all 4 of them were shaking. He stood in the emergency council session, surrounded by panicking delegates from across the galaxy. The massive chamber buzzed with worried voices in 1,000 languages. "Order!" Councillor Vrath clicked his mandibles together loudly. "We must have order!" The noise died down slowly. Delegates settled into their seats, but the fear was obvious. Chancellor Drexith stepped forward with his report. "The humans have not responded to any communications," he said. "We have sent 432 official messages, all ignored. We have sent envoys to Earth. They were turned away at the border. We have tried contacting human colonies. They simply say, 'No comment,' and end the transmission." A gaseous being flickered with angry colors. "This is unacceptable. They cannot ignore the council." "Actually," a quiet voice said from the back, "they can." Everyone turned. Dr. Sujin, a human xenosociologist, had been allowed to stay on the station to study alien cultures. She was one of the few humans who didn't leave immediately. "Explain yourself," Vrath demanded. Dr. Sujin walked to the center of the chamber. She looked tiny compared to the massive aliens around her, but she spoke with confidence. "Membership in the Galactic Council is voluntary. There is no law saying species must participate. Humans have chosen to leave. That is within our rights." "But they need us," Chancellor Drexith protested. "They need our trade networks, our protection agreements, our infrastructure." "Do they?" Dr. Sujin asked. "Or do you need them?" The chamber erupted in angry buzzing and roaring. Vrath banged his gavel for silence. "The human delegate will explain her meaning." "The council operates on rules made 10,000 years ago," Dr. Sujin said calmly, "when there were only 12 species in the galaxy. Now there are thousands. The system is slow because it was designed to be slow. It protects the oldest and richest civilizations. Younger species like humanity always get outvoted, always get delayed, always get ignored." "That is not true," Delegate Corrine burbled. "Really?" Dr. Sujin pulled up a holographic display. "In 42 years, humans submitted 217 proposals. 3 were approved, all minor. Every major proposal was delayed, blocked, or sent to committee to die. Meanwhile, the Velcor Empire submitted 60 proposals in the same time. 53 were approved within 2 years each. The Velcor Empire has been a council member for 6,000 years, Chancellor Drexith argued. They understand proper procedure. Exactly my point, Dr. Sujin said. The system rewards age and punishes youth. Humans are done playing a game designed for us to lose. She left the chamber. The delegates sat in stunned silence. They will be back, Vrath finally said. They will realize they need us. Species cannot survive alone in the galaxy. But weeks passed, then months, and humans did not come back. Admiral Hyun stood on the bridge of the human flagship, Determination. She watched the tactical display as human patrol ships moved through space in new patterns, patterns not approved by the Council, patterns designed to actually work. Admiral, we have visual confirmation on the pirate fleet, her tactical officer reported. Same group that attacked the New Dawn. How many ships? 32, ma'am. They're raiding a transport near the Corvin Nebula. Admiral Hyun smiled coldly. Weapons hot. All ships engage. Ma'am, the Council declared the Corvin Nebula a protected zone. We're not supposed to... We don't follow Council rules anymore, Lieutenant. Engage the enemy. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed, right on top of the pirate vessels. The pirates, used to operating without opposition, were completely unprepared. In under an hour, every pirate ship was disabled or destroyed. On Earth, Prime Minister Ji-won met with representatives from smaller alien civilizations. These were species like humanity, young and ignored by the Council's old powers. You simply stopped participating? Asked the delegate from Korra, a four-legged species with fur like silver grass. We stopped asking permission to help our own people, Ji-won corrected, and we started actually solving problems. But the Council... The Council does not own the galaxy, Ji-won interrupted gently. If your species wants to trade with us directly, without Council tariffs and regulations, we would be happy to negotiate. If you want to share technology, we can do that too. No committees, no decade-long debates, just actual cooperation. The Quran delegates' ears perked up with interest. Meanwhile, human engineers arrived at the colony world of Talax III. The Talaxians were a peaceful species who had begged the Council for help with their failing power systems for 20 years. The Council formed a study group that was scheduled to visit in 2398. The human team fixed the problem in 3 weeks and charged nothing. Word spread. Back on the Council station, Chancellor Drexith presented his weekly report with increasing panic. 17 younger species have established direct trade with humanity. 32 have requested human technical assistance. 6 have openly questioned their continued Council membership. This is a disaster, Vrath clicked. The humans are undermining our entire system. Perhaps, Dr. Sujin said quietly from her corner. She had been observing every session. Or perhaps they are showing the galaxy what happens when you actually help people instead of just talking about it. Governor Heejin stood on the balcony of her office on New Jeju, a human colony world. 6 months ago, this planet had been struggling under Council regulations that made no sense for a frontier world. Now, freed from those rules, the colony was thriving. Her assistant brought the latest production reports. Governor, crop yields are up 300%. Manufacturing is at record levels, and we just signed a direct trade agreement with 4 nearby alien colonies. Any word from the Council? Heejin asked. They sent another message asking us to reconsider. I sent our standard response. Which is? Humanity is no longer a Council member. Please direct all inquiries to our independent diplomatic corps. Same as always. Heejin smiled. Good. On the Council station, Vrath called another emergency session. But this time, attendance was down. Several species had sent excuses. Some didn't bother with excuses at all. The Council was starting to realize something terrifying. For 10,000 years, they had assumed they were necessary. That species needed the Council to survive. that their system, however slow, was the only way to govern the galaxy. The humans had walked away, and they were not dying. They were not failing. They were thriving, and dozens of other species were watching and learning. Chancellor Drexith looked at the half-empty chamber and felt fear in all four of his hearts. The galaxy was changing, and the Council was being left behind. Captain Jinwoo studied the star map on his command screen. Red dots marked every known pirate attack over the past 5 years. The pattern was clear once you actually looked at it. The Council had spent 20 years debating this problem. Jinwoo planned to solve it in weeks. "All ships report ready, Captain," his first officer said. Jinwoo commanded a hunter fleet of 12 human warships. Their mission was simple: find the pirates and end them. No council approval needed, no committee votes, no waiting for permission. "Take us into the Corvin Nebula," Jinwoo ordered. His crew exchanged glances. "Sir, that's council-protected space. We're not supposed to—" "We're not council members anymore," Jinwoo reminded them. "Plot the course." The fleet jumped into faster-than-light speed. The Corvin Nebula was a massive cloud of gas and dust where sensors didn't work well. Perfect place to hide. The council had declared it too politically complex to deal with. Translation: important council members had interests there and didn't want anyone looking too close. Humans looked anyway. The fleet dropped into normal space at the nebula's edge. Immediately, sensors started picking up signals. Lots of signals. "Captain, I'm reading over 100 ships inside the nebula. Energy signatures match known pirate vessels. Launch recon drones. I want eyes on everything." The drones flew into the gas cloud, their cameras recording everything. What they found made Jinwoo's blood boil. The pirates had built an entire base, repair facilities, storage depots, even civilian prisoners held in cages. "Send this feed to Admiral Hyun," Jinwoo ordered, "and prepare for assault. All ships' weapons hot." Back on Earth, Admiral Hyun watched the drone footage with Prime Minister Ji-won. Both were furious. "The council said the pirate problem was complex," Ji-won said. "They said it needed careful study. They said military action would be inappropriate." "They lied," Hyun said flatly. "The pirates have a permanent base. This took years to build. The council had to know." "Then why didn't they act?" "Because someone was making money from it," Hyun said. "Jinwoo, you are weapons free. Clean them out." In the Corvin Nebula, the human fleet attacked. The pirates, used to operating without opposition, panicked. They had numbers but no discipline, no real training. They were bullies who had never faced real soldiers. The battle was over in 3 hours. Jinwoo's Marines stormed the main base. They freed prisoners from 6 different species. They captured the pirate leader, a scarred alien called Syndicate Lord Thresh, alive. "You'll regret this," Thresh snarled as Marines put him in chains. The council will do nothing," Jinwoo interrupted. "We don't work for them anymore, but you're going to tell us who you do work for." It took 2 days of questioning, but Thresh broke. He knew he was finished either way, so he talked. And what he said shocked even the humans. 3 major council species had been paying the pirates, not directly, of course, through shell companies and secret accounts. The pirates attacked shipping from younger species, driving up insurance costs and making those species dependent on the older powers for protection. It was a business model, and the council had known. Some members had known, and they had blocked every attempt to stop it because they were making money. Jinwoo didn't wait for orders. He set up a camera in Thresh's cell and recorded a full confession. Names, dates, account numbers, everything. Then he broadcast it across the entire galactic network. Every species in the galaxy saw it. The council exploded into chaos. On the council station, Councillor Vrath watched his political career end in real time. His species wasn't one of the corrupt ones, but it didn't matter. The council itself was tainted now. Delegates screamed at each other. Some denied involvement. Some fled the station entirely. Chancellor Drexith tried to do damage control. "This is clearly human propaganda designed to undermine..." Dr. Sujin stood up. She had downloaded the financial records Thresh provided. "Would you like me to show the council the bank transactions? They're all verified. Real accounts, real money, real corruption." The chamber went silent. "The humans are trying to destroy us," someone shouted. "No," Dr. Sujin said quietly. "You destroyed yourselves. The humans just showed everyone what you really are." Back on New Jeju, Governor Heejin held a press conference with reporters from across the galaxy. Hundreds of species wanted to know what humanity would do next. "Will you rejoin the council now?" one reporter asked. "Why would we?" Heejin replied. "We solved a problem in 4 months that they couldn't solve in 20 years. We're not going back to a broken system. But without the council, how will the galaxy maintain order?" "The same way we always should have," Heejin said. "By actually helping each other instead of forming committees to study the idea of maybe eventually considering helping each other." On a mining colony at the edge of human space, workers from 3 different species worked side by side. A month ago, they had all been struggling under council regulations. Now they had direct trade agreements with Earth. Their productivity had tripled. The alien workers talked among themselves during breaks. "Maybe the humans have the right idea," one said. "Maybe we don't need the council either." Word spread, not through official channels, through ordinary people talking to each other, trading with each other, helping each other. The way things used to work before everything got buried in bureaucracy. Captain Jinwoo returned to Earth a hero, parades in the streets, medals and commendations. But in private, Admiral Hyun gave him a different mission. "More species are asking to work with us directly," she said. "They want what we have, freedom to actually solve problems." What do we tell them? We tell them the truth, that they don't need the council's permission to help themselves, that they never did. On the council station, Vrath sat alone in the now mostly empty council chamber. Half the delegates had left. The rest were too busy dealing with scandals in their own governments. He thought about the 10,000 years of council history, all the speeches, all the debates, all the careful procedures designed to maintain order. And one young species had walked away and proven it was all unnecessary. The council had thought they controlled the galaxy. They had thought they were essential. They were wrong. And now everyone knew it. Elder Zin had not attended a council session in 200 years. He was ancient even by his species' standards, a being who had been present when the Galactic Council first formed 10,000 years ago. Now he shuffled slowly into the private meeting room where Ambassador Yunji waited. Yunji was young for a human diplomat, barely 30 years old. She had been Minho's student before he retired. Now she ran Earth's independent diplomatic corps, establishing relationships with individual species rather than the council. "Thank you for meeting with me," Zin said. His voice was like wind through old trees. "You're the first council member to actually ask," Yunji replied. "Everyone else just sends angry messages demanding we come back." Zin settled his old body into a chair designed for his species. "That is because they are afraid, and fear makes people foolish." "What are you afraid of, Elder Zin?" "I am afraid that I spent 10,000 years building something that has become a monster." Zin's eyes, still sharp despite his age, focused on Yunji. "I was there at the beginning. We created the council to prevent war, to help species work together. It was meant to be a good thing." "What happened?" "Time happened. Bureaucracy happened. Power happened." Zin sighed. "The procedures we created to ensure fairness became weapons to maintain control. The careful deliberation we designed to prevent hasty mistakes became an excuse to never act at all. And I stopped paying attention. I thought the system would maintain itself. It did maintain itself, Yunji said. That was the problem. It maintained the status quo. It maintained power for those who already had it. It maintained everything except actual justice. Zin nodded slowly. The council voted to offer humanity a deal. We will fast-track reforms, give you 5 permanent seats, veto powers, everything you want. Everything we wanted 42 years ago, Yunji corrected, before we realized the system itself is the problem. Will you at least bring the offer to your government? Yunji smiled. Of course, we're Democrats. The people will vote. 2 weeks later, President Taiyang stood before the cameras at Earth's capital. Behind him, screens showed the voting results in real time. Every human over age 16 had been allowed to vote on the council's offer. The results came in from across human space. Colonies on the frontier, cities on Earth, stations in deep space, ships traveling between stars. Everyone voted. 78% said no. President Taiyang read the results aloud. The people of Earth and her colonies have voted to reject the Galactic Council's offer. We thank them for their proposal, but we are building something better. Reporters shouted questions. What will humanity do now? Ambassador Yunji will explain, Taiyang said, stepping aside. Yunji approached the podium. She had prepared for this moment carefully. The council's offer was generous by their standards. But it was still asking us to join a broken system. Instead, humanity is creating something new. We call it the Free Coalition. She displayed a document on the screens behind her. The Free Coalition is open to any species who wants real partnership, no bureaucracy, no hereditary seats, no century-long debates, just mutual defense, open trade, and actual cooperation. Our rules are simple. The screens showed the coalition's founding principles. Yunji read them aloud. 1. Every member species has equal voice regardless of age or size. 2. Decisions are made within months, not decades. 3. Action is valued over endless debate. 4. Help is freely given when needed. 5. Trade is open and fair. 6. Military support is mutual. 7. Technology is shared. 8. Members can leave at any time. No questions asked. That's it? A reporter asked, shocked. 8 rules? That's it, Yunji confirmed. The Galactic Council has over 14,000 regulations. We have 8 simple principles. We believe that's enough. But who will enforce these rules? We all will. Together. That's what coalition means. Within 24 hours, 43 species petitioned to join. The Korans were first, tired of being ignored by the Council. The Talaxians were second, grateful for human help with their power systems. Others followed. Chancellor Drexith watched the news in horror. In one day, humanity had created a rival to 10,000 years of Council tradition. This is chaos, he muttered. Total chaos. Or maybe it's freedom, Dr. Sujin suggested. She was packing her belongings, preparing to leave the council station. Hard to tell the difference when you've never experienced it. On the mining colony at the edge of human space, the non-human workers called a meeting. Our home government is still in the council, one said. But we're out here doing the work. What do? We petition our government to join the Free Coalition, another suggested. And if they refuse, we remind them that they work for us. Not the other way around. The vote was unanimous. Similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Workers, colonists, and ordinary citizens of younger species realized they had a choice. Stay with the Council and its endless delays, or join humanity's experiment in actual cooperation. Many chose freedom. Governor Heejin hosted the first Free Coalition Summit on New Jeju. Representatives from 60 species gathered in a simple meeting hall. No fancy council chambers, no assigned seating based on species age, just beings who wanted to work together. We have our first real test, Heejin announced. The planet Corva 3 is facing a food shortage. Their next harvest failed. The council promised to study the issue. They scheduled a preliminary committee for next year. What do they need? Asked the Talaxian delegate. Seeds, water purification systems, and agricultural experts, Heejin said. We can provide seeds, said the Quran. We have water tech, offered a reptilian species from a desert world. We'll send agricultural specialists, said the human delegation. The meeting took 40 minutes. Help was on its way to Corva 3 within 3 days. At the council station, Councillor Vrath read the report on the Corva 3 relief effort. They solved it in 3 days, he said to Chancellor Drexith. 3 days. It's reckless, Drexith insisted. They didn't study the long-term impacts. They didn't consider all the variables. They just acted. And it worked, Vrath pointed out. While we were scheduling committees, they saved lives. Back on Earth, Ambassador Minho came out of retirement for one last task. President Tai Yang asked him to address the galaxy about why humanity left the council. Minho stood before the cameras, older now but still clear-eyed. We didn't leave because we hated you, he said. We left because we refused to watch people die while committees debated. The council had its time. It served its purpose. But that time has passed. He paused, choosing his words carefully. The galaxy is bigger now, more complex, more diverse. It needs something better than 10,000 years of tradition. It needs systems that actually work, that actually help, that actually care more about people than procedures. The Free Coalition is not perfect. We will make mistakes. But we will make them while trying to help, not while trying to avoid responsibility. We offer partnership to anyone who wants it. And to those who prefer the Council, we wish you well. But we are done begging for permission to do what is right. The broadcast ended. In homes across the galaxy, beings from thousands of species watched and thought about what Minho had said, and many of them agreed. 2 years had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Admiral Hyun, now Supreme Commander of Free Coalition forces, watched the tactical display in her command center on Earth. Green dots represented coalition members. There were 127 of them now, each one a species that had chosen action over bureaucracy. Admiral, we have a priority communication from Councillor Vrath, her aide reported. He's requesting a private meeting. Hyun raised an eyebrow. The same Vrath who called humans impulsive children 2 years ago? The very same, ma'am. Let's hear what he has to say. The meeting was held on a neutral space station, halfway between Earth and the old Council territory. Vrath arrived alone, without the usual entourage of assistants and advisors. He looked older somehow, despite being a species that aged slowly. Thank you for seeing me, Admiral, Vrath said, his mandibles clicking nervously. You asked for this meeting, Hyun reminded him. What does the Council want? The Council wants nothing, Vrath said quietly. I am here on behalf of my people. We wish to join the Free Coalition. Hyun studied him carefully. Your species has held a council seat for 8,000 years. Yes, 8,000 years of maintaining power instead of helping people. 8,000 years of watching the galaxy evolve while we stayed frozen in tradition. Vrath's compound eyes met hers. My people voted. 63% want to leave the council. They see what you've built. They want to be part of it. And the other 37%? They are afraid. Change is frightening when you've been comfortable for so long. Vrath paused. I was one of them. I thought you humans were reckless, impulsive, dangerous. And now? Now I see that we were the dangerous ones. We let people suffer because we were too afraid to act, too concerned with procedure to care about actual lives. Vrath's voice grew quieter. My granddaughter died last year. Her ship was attacked by pirates near our home system. We petitioned the council for help. They formed a committee. She died while they debated the proper response protocol. I'm sorry, Hyun said, and meant it. The humans had already wiped out the pirate bases by then, Vrath continued. If my people had asked you for help instead of the council, she would still be alive. His voice broke slightly. I will not let that system continue. Not when there is a better way. Hyun was silent for a moment. Then she extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. Welcome to the Free Coalition, Counselor. Just Vrath now, he said, touching her hand with one of his manipulator claws. I resigned my council seat this morning. On the council station, the remaining delegates gathered for what would be their last full session. Only 43 species were represented now, less than a third of the original membership. Chancellor Drexith stood at his podium, all 4 arms trembling. We must stay strong, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. The council has survived for 10,000 years. We will survive this. To what purpose? Asked one of the few remaining delegates. So we can continue to debate while the galaxy moves on without us? We represent order, tradition, the proper way of doing things. We represent obsolescence, Dr. Sujin said. She had stayed on the station, documenting the council's final days for the historical record. The galaxy doesn't need us anymore. It never really did. Drexith glared at her. You humans destroyed us. No, Dr. Sujin corrected gently. You destroyed yourselves. We just stopped participating in it. The vote came that evening. After 10,000 years, the Galactic Council voted to dissolve itself. 28 species voted yes. 15 voted no. The holdouts were the oldest, richest civilizations who had benefited most from the old system. The yes votes won. Chancellor Drexith read the final declaration with tears running down his face. By majority vote, the Galactic Council hereby dissolves, effective immediately. Member species will petition for acceptance into the Free Coalition, pending approval of their applications. This council is adjourned. Forever. The gavel fell one last time. 10,000 years ended with a quiet click. On New Jeju, the Free Coalition held its second annual summit. The meeting hall that had held 60 species 2 years ago was now packed with representatives from over 100 worlds. They weren't here to debate. They were here to celebrate what they'd accomplished together. Admiral Yuna, promoted to Fleet Admiral after the pirate campaign, gave the keynote speech. 2 years ago, humanity took a risk. We walked away from the only galactic government that existed. People said we were crazy, that we would fail, that we needed the council to survive. She smiled. They were wrong. We didn't need the council. We needed each other. And when we started working together, really working together, we discovered something amazing. We could actually fix problems. The crowd cheered. Beings from 100 different species, all united by the simple idea that action mattered more than endless debate. Yuna continued. In 2 years, we've stopped the pirate threat that plagued the galaxy for decades. We've established fair trade routes. We've shared technology that the Council hoarded. We've responded to 17 natural disasters in weeks instead of years. We've done more in 2 years than the Council did in a century. And we did it by following 8 simple rules instead of 14,000 regulations, someone shouted from the crowd. Yuna laughed. Exactly. Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer. In the back of the hall, Ambassador Minho sat with his wife, watching the celebration. He had retired fully now, happy to let younger people like Yunji and Yuna lead the coalition forward. A young alien approached him timidly. She was from a species that had just joined the coalition, one of the many younger civilizations that had been ignored by the Council for centuries. Ambassador Minho? She asked. May I speak with you? Of course. Though I'm not an ambassador anymore, just Minho. The young alien sat down beside him. I wanted to ask you something. My people, we spent 200 years trying to get the council to listen to us. 200 years of being told to wait, to be patient, to follow proper procedure. How did you have the courage to just stop? Minho smiled. Do you know what the council's biggest mistake was? What? They forgot that patience is only a virtue when you're waiting for the right thing. We were patient for 42 years. We followed every rule. We submitted every form. We attended every meeting. And our people died while we waited for permission to save them. He looked at the young alien. We didn't have courage. We just finally got angry enough to stop accepting unacceptable things. And that's all it took? Just deciding to stop? That's all it ever takes, Minho said. The hard part is realizing you have the choice. On the view screen behind them, breaking news interrupted the celebration. The feed showed the old council station being decommissioned. The massive structure that had housed galactic government for 10,000 years was being converted into a museum. And in smaller text at the bottom, former Galactic Council petitions for membership in Free Coalition. Vote scheduled for next month. The crowd in the hall noticed the news. A cheer went up. Not a mocking cheer, but one of genuine welcome. The coalition wasn't about revenge. It was about building something better. Fleet Admiral Yuna raised her glass. To the galaxy, she said. May we always choose action over apathy, courage over comfort, and people over procedure. To the galaxy, the crowd echoed. Minho stood and joined the toast. His wife squeezed his hand. Did you ever think it would go this far? She asked. No, he admitted. I just wanted to stop watching people die while bureaucrats debated. I had no idea we'd change the entire galaxy. You showed them a better way. We showed them they didn't need permission to do the right thing, Minho corrected. They did the rest themselves. Outside, stars twinkled in the new Jeju sky. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of worlds, beings from thousands of species lived under a new system. A system based on cooperation instead of control. On action instead of endless discussion. On the simple idea that when people needed help, you helped them. The Galactic Council had freaked when humans ended all diplomacy. They had panicked when humanity walked away. They had thought it was the end of galactic civilization. They were wrong. It was the beginning of something better. And all it took was one species brave enough to say no more and walk away from a system that didn't work. The rest of the galaxy had been waiting for someone to go first. Humanity had simply been the first to stop asking permission to be free. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly the point.